And then watching this movie with Mr. Rogers, it's like there's this whole moment where they're like, he was a lifelong Republican, and you're like, but and then they were like, this is why he said things, and then they like immediately go off with his problems with Nixon, and you're just like, you know what? Again, it's like I think right now, especially in this political climate, someone's like, they were Republican, and you're like, well,
now it's like it's like, hey man, you a blood or you a Crip?
Exactly.
Like it's so hardcore now. Like Jesus, guys, I just want to I have different thoughts about how taxes should be used. That's it.
Exactly.
When this boy meets world.
What up, bros?
What up, bros?
And welcome to Bruh Meets World.
When it's Bruh Meets World.
Your Boy Meets World fan cast. Welcome to episode 28. I'm Siege.
And I'm your boy, Tony Curtis.
All right, and how you been?
Yo, we're together right now.
We're together
Guys,
again.
If you're listening to this episode and you're like, hey, this doesn't sound shitty, we are in the same room right now.
Which usually helps.
Yeah.
Not always. We'll find out.
Living on opposite sides of the country does make our podcast sometimes challenging, so it's always nice when we get to do it live.
Yep. Do it live.
Yeah, do it live.
We'll do it live. All right. So, this episode, again.
This episode, bruh, it was so good.
Yes, you know what? This is one of those episodes that I think is ingrained in my memory because of the subject matter it covers, how it covers it, and then the overall takeaway. Not only does the show come back to this moment, but this is a very, very big moment in my Boy Meets World memory.
Sure.
We are talking about season 2, episode 5, titled "The Uninvited."
Yeah, and like you said, this was an episode that I remembered, and to me, this is like one of those pivotal Corey and Sean episodes.
Yes,
very much like in the same way the Cherry Bomb episode really defined their friendship. I thought that this was an episode that really defined them as a duo.
Exactly.
And I so much to discuss.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So, let's start with our Tell Me About It.
Tell me about it.
All right. So,
popular girl Melissa is hosting the first party of the school year, and Corey stresses over whether or not he'll be invited. Corey is relieved when he finally does score an invite, but is shocked when Sean does not. He debates the invitation and ultimately decides to attend, even if it means leaving Sean behind. However, once he arrives at the party, he learns that the invites were altered for a more parent-approved guest list, aka a geek party, and Sean is still the 7th grade king of cool.
First thoughts. I loved it. I thought it was such an interesting, dissection of what it means to be cool. Like the whole episode is like, I want to be cool. This is what's cool. Am I cool or aren't you cool?
Yeah.
And just what it means. And I feel that it was so well written.
Yeah.
So that everything that's happening throughout the episode really helps Corey get to where he needs to be. And I felt it was one of those more believable Boy Meets World episodes.
Yes.
Where I'm not just like, Corey, are you serious, bruh? Like this just was like, oh yeah. And then also I was like, I took a lot away from this from a 2018 perspective as well, of just I don't want to get too into it, but just Corey is getting notoriety. He's getting what he feels like is, people think I'm cool, and how does that change his behavior towards his friends? And in the age of social media, I just thought that was such an interesting concept of getting validation from people that you don't even know to try to be what you think is cool, and then alienating yourself from people who know who you genuinely are.
Exactly. I think you're right. I really like that you brought that parallel in already, like the social media part of it. But then for me, it also helps just as an adult because I just remember, again, when you're moving out and you're in a new city and you're trying to find people or I don't know, it's just you're single and you're young and you're trying to do things. There is this feeling of am I missing out on stuff, or should I be here or should I be there?
FOMO.
And I had a friend who was like, dude, it's I'm never trying to be anywhere because for when you matter, then wherever you are is the place to be. You know what I mean? And I think that that was what I saw in this episode.
Totally.
And I was like, oh my god. So let's just go in for a little bit. So on this episode,
oh wait, okay. So I have to talk about this. Right off the bat, Alan bought dick pills.
Wait. So you will wait. You will wait until we get, because what we have to do, first of all, is a roll call.
Oh, roll call, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
so we get 2 new classmates on this episode.
Okay.
We didn't get the first name of one of them. I just have Ms.Wilder. Feeney calls her Ms.Wilder. And then we get Melissa Harrington,
who is a world-class bitch.
Yes,
Did not
she
like
is.
her at all.
I was like, yeah, like when she's walking through the hallway, it's just like
The entire time, I was like, there's nothing redeemable about her. This is just, it reminded me of the girls from the first season that like strung Erica.
They combined them.
That was just
one.
like, wow, Boy Meets World knows how to write a bitchy teenage girl. They do it so well.
I wonder what that's about. But you know what? It's not just Boy Meets World. Bitchy teenage girls were like a thing. I think since Heathers, it was like
like Heathers, yeah.
But like if you remember Full House, there was the one girl who I can't think of.
No,
right now.
when DJ started to go into high school, that would throw her all that shade.
Yeah. And then Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You had the bully at her high school.
Well, no, I mean, even if you go back to like Teen Witch in the 80s or like some of these other things, there's always like that popular girl who's mean.
Just a bitch.
and it seems like too is like the more popular you get, the more bitchy you're allowed to be, and just like ain't that the damn truth?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm trying to think now if we do it a little bit differently, because I do feel that I'm trying to think of just some movies where it's like the person's popular, but that's not necessarily mean they're not inherently a bitch. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, I'm misunderstood, or like
I guess I think about like divas, like musicians divas,
again, you're going back to like media.
Yeah, well, yeah, and just like real life people, like the Real Housewives. If you told me so and so was a bitch, I'd be like, yeah.
But I feel that what we're talking about are not two different things, but it's like that's 2 different levels of popularity. There's people who are popular, and they're popular because they start drama. Just like there's that couple in high school where it's like everyone knows what's going on, but that's because they're always, doing something. And then there are the people who are cool, where it's like you know nothing about them, and they're nice, but you just don't have access to their circle.
So Melissa, why is she so popular? Because to me it seems like it's only because she's pretty.
She's pretty and she's developing. This is high school. What more do you want? Like, I have to say, it's really funny because they even kind of talk about that, which I want to get into it. There's a point where she goes,
once Mom and Dad nixed all the guys like Sean, then none of the girls are going to show up. Since none of the girls show up, none of the regular guys come. I can't believe my parents did this to me.
By the way,
and you're like
she's saying this to Corey. She insults Corey to his face continuously throughout that entire party.
That's what got me. I was like, dude, you're like saying that he's below the regular guys to his face. He's right there.
And that's why she's a bitch. It's not because she's mean. She's mean to people's faces. Like, at least have the courtesy to be mean behind
do it behind my back like
Jeez.
I'm a person. All right, but yeah, so that's Melissa, and now let's get into the episode. So you're right. The first note I have is Alan buys dick pills.
Alan buys dick pills, and it's so funny because I noticed from this episode, and really the next episode too, that the content of the jokes is getting much more mature. There's so much sex in these jokes.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, we're second season, 7th grade, and we're getting these sex jokes.
7th grade, and we are like there. Because again, Alan is just like, oh, they help me last longer. Our endurance pills, and you're just like what? Because he's like, I got them for you, and you're like, oh my god, this is Viagra.
Yeah.
Like, it's like
and I don't know that it was Viagra. I think it would be similar to like those little pills you see at the gas station.
Yeah, exactly.
Those male enhancement pills. But yeah, so I just thought it was really funny how he seems to be going through this midlife crisis.
You know how I feel about Alan.
And man, he is just the worst with it.
He is, well, like he has so much insecurity, and I want to start watching other 90s shows and seeing if this is how Alan is written or if this like is a cultural thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they just do it so much with Alan. Every scene with Alan is him being insecure in some way, shape, or form. And you're like, dude, just calm down. Like, the whole point that he's like, I'm getting old, I just turned 40.
Yeah.
40 is nothing, by the way.
Sure.
And then he's like, I just turned 40, I need to go prove myself by playing basketball with my homies, which
Gosh, the appropriation there. Gonna go play b-ball with my homies? No,
like,
Alan, you're not.
You're back to... It was like the universe was like, nah, son. Because you said that, all of blackness took away the powers that be felt it. But, like, seriously, it was a moment where I was like, okay, first of all, b-ball with my homies we're just gonna...
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because I did that and then I put eye rolling emojis in my notes. That's not something I could communicate to you. That was just for me.
And then like, this whole needing to prove yourself and then having your back out, but then, like, too prideful to say you've hurt yourself.
One thing I will say in regards to, like, watching other 90s shows, I haven't gone back to specifically look for it, but I remember the men being very insecure. I remember, like, think about how often, like, Tim Allen on The Home Improvement would just, like, needed to fix something and be the one who fixed something. Uncle Jesse and his hair and how important his hair was to him.
That's actually really true.
It's something that they just... It was a way to make men vulnerable to an audience, I think, is to present them with an insecurity versus being like this macho man who fixes everything. I think for a family show, it was important to show softer sides of men, and that's how they did it.
Okay, honestly, it's funny that you say that, because I remember seeing something that was talking about, maybe it was you, I don't remember, but someone was talking about Home Improvement and how it's actually just a show about his insecurities and about him learning to be a different kind of man.
Yeah.
And not, like, he's very and macho, but, like, you have Al, you have Wilson, you have, like, him raising these boys who aren't all, like, this picture perfect ideal of masculinity. So I think that, I can't remember what it was, but someone was talking about that it's actually as much as it has machismo on the front, it's actually really about the different ways of being a man.
Yeah, and now that, I mean, I didn't say that to you, but I really like that idea, because everything in, just a sidetrack on Home Improvement for a second, everything that he encounters on the show are the people saying, this is why you shouldn't be what you are. Mm-hmm. Like, with his wife, with his kids, with his friends, everything is just like, no, you're being ridiculous. Like, just be a person. And at the end of every episode, he's like, yeah, you're right, I should, And so it becomes a trope that I think is evident on a lot of 90s white male-based sitcoms. I mean,
all right, so we'll give it to you. All right, Alan, you are allowed to to complain about your back if that's the way that we get a more sensitive...
No. Let's real fast. The reason he throws his back out is because he was lightly tossing magazines, and he threw his back out. Are you kidding me, boy?
So here's the thing. I mean, I'm not saying that that's outrageous, but I immediately was like, oh, dude works in a grocery store. The idea that Alan is not properly lifting with his knees is completely realistic.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I feel like it was just like he did something and his back was like, that was it, we're done,
Yeah, I guess that's true.
That was just my thought.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like, but I have to admit, I'm kind of scared of that moment. I'm scared because you see it all the time in TV, and I'm kind of hoping it's like quicksand.
The moment?
The moment where it's like you get to an age where you did nothing. You did absolutely nothing. You tossed the paper, or
and then you
put on your hat, and like your back is just like done.
Hey, bro, I'm out.
Exactly. There are just those moments where someone's like, "No, I'm cool," and then they do this, and they're like, "Oh my god, I can't move." And again, it's very big on TV. I've seen it a lot.
Yeah,
but I'm like hoping it's like quicksand, where it's something that TV hypes.
Like, quicksand. I've never seen it in real life.
Exactly. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Wow. That's quicksand.
Okay.
What was that John Mulaney who was like, I thought quicksand was going to be a way bigger deal than what it was.
Okay. So then from there, we go to school where the boys are passing notes.
Yeah,
and,
Feeney is discussing the invention of the postal service.
I literally didn't even pay attention to that.
As literally every person in this class is exchanging notes, and as he's walking through the aisles, he picks up notes, and he starts reading them out loud. A lot of things about this. One, has this ever happened to you?
Yes. Not to me personally, but I have had to. Oh, dude, I have a great story for that. I have had teachers who would like confiscate notes and then read them aloud. Again, I don't think any of them were ever my notes. I actually have a box of notes from high school. I kept them for some reason, and I still have them. But that. I will say, once in college, I had a notebook where me and this other classmate was shit talking the professor. Like, just like, blah, 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 blah. I left the notebook in the classroom. The next class, he read aloud everything. He didn't say whose it was, but since, I owned it, he read it aloud the entire conversation back and the back and forth. And that was a very humbling moment.
How did that make you feel?
It was a very humbling moment. You're like, oh shit, this is what they mean by paper trail.
But very much like you, I had a notebook. I didn't actually pass notes because to me that seemed overtly obvious, as it should be to every person in this class. I've had notes read. I can't remember a specific moment, but I for sure have had notes read. And I always thought, I was like, I don't really think this is a cool thing for a teacher to do. Because I just feel like that kids are just in such a vulnerable place in this age that, like, if someone felt the need to pass a note, I'm going to assume it was a private note. And I understand you want to teach a lesson. I don't know that this is the best way to do that.
Do you think they still pass notes? Like,
No.
I would say they
we have
text.
phones.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Like, I don't understand why you would, but I was just like,
I look down at my watch and I have a message there.
That's a very good point. I don't know. I didn't think anyone still wrote notes, but like that kind of makes me sad. I like note writing.
Yeah, and it was just kind of
again.
cool.
I have a box full of notes.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can keep and like little doodles and like
exactly.
Oh man.
So anyway, all that happens, but like the main point of this whole scene is that Feeney reads out loud that Corey wants to know if the party that Melissa's throwing will be a make-up party, is what Feeney says. But of course, we know that he means make-out party. And Corey gets teased, and there's like this whole moment of Melissa being a bitch. And so
I was just gonna say that Corey asking if it was a make-out party to me seemed like Corey? Little Corey Matthews asking if this is a makeout party? I just thought that was a huge jump for his character to even like assume or like think about that. And now I'm like, of course, like, this is the age. It just makes sense. But this is one of those things that I remember Corey from first season who got kissed by Topanga and was just like frozen.
Well, see, I feel like it's kind of a balance of things. I feel that it's Corey getting older and, of course, wanting to, participate. But also, Corey's filled with anxiety. Yeah. And I feel that, like, Corey wanting to know if it was a make-out party quite possibly could have been him being like should I be worried about this? You know what I mean? Like, is this something that I need to prepare for? Should I go practice on my pillow?
Yeah, I think it was more of that, too. I think it was more of just him, like, being insecure and just wondering, like, am I going to be in a position where I'm going to be over my head? Which he totally was.
Yeah, exactly.
The other thing is that, like, when Feeney's like, oh no, he meant make out party. And then, like, the class starts laughing a little bit. And Sean burns Corey by, like, being like, who would invite you? Or something like that. Or, like, I don't know. He says something into it.
I do remember that moment.
Kind of throw to the class that Corey's kind of a nerd. Which I just thought, I was like, it's one of those brotherly things.
Yeah, you would totally rag on your friend.
Yeah, it's ragging on a friend.
It's one of those things where it's like, if anyone else would have spoken up, like if Kenny would have just said something to Corey in that moment, Sean would have been like, hey, you don't get to say anything about him, I get to say something about him. So that's my whole take from it. But again, what happens is Corey kind of sets it up for us that this Melissa girl is one of the most popular girls in school. She's throwing this party, and what I thought was interesting is she has not said anything about the party. We don't hear her talking and hyping up the party. Corey is the one narrating the story, and Corey says whoever gets invited is the cool people. And Corey makes the allotment that getting one means something and not getting one means something else. And of course, us as the audience, you either choose to go along with Corey or you you know enough about television to know that this is going to flip on him.
Sure.
But what I'm just saying is not a single student has has labeled this the cool party.
Well, I will argue that the slow motion scene when she hands out the invitation.
But again, that's from his point of view.
Yeah.
That's not, again, Sean doesn't look at it that way. Corey is the one who's just like, this is such a big moment.
Well, Sean is just like, yeah, go figure out why I wasn't invited.
Well, no. And this is what, I'm glad we're getting this. For a few things I want to back up. One, that slow-mo moment, at first I was like so cheesy, but then I thought about it and I was like, no, when you're that age, this is one of those
the big moments,
heart-pounding moments where everything slows down.
Because at that age, there's nothing more important than the world. Like,
exactly.
Like we as adults have so many responsibilities that we can't care about anything that much.
Exactly.
As a kid.
And Corey is just like, his world is literally slowing down with this. So much so that he closes his eyes because it's almost too painful. And then she hands him an invitation and he immediately thinks, oh my God, we got it. But what I found very interesting about this scene is, one, Corey, of course, assumes that Sean has one and he's like in his world and he thinks that, yes, we've made it, we're on top. Because in his mind, if he's going, Sean's going. And Sean's automatically the better of the two of them. So, you know, it's kind of like this. We've talked about codependency a little bit before on the show. But I do like that they kind of hit on the fact that Corey doesn't really have a self-worth. His self-worth,
I was going to say, the self-esteem of all the men in this episode. Because really, when you think about it, like Alan has a ton of self-esteem issues. Corey's having a ton of self-esteem issues. We're going to get to Harley and Frankie and Joey. That insecurity is next level.
We kind of went over that, but we can skip that part, but we got to go back. But keep going.
But yeah, so I do think it becomes very evident that, like we learned throughout the episode, Corey legit thinks Sean is better than him.
Exactly.
And it's just one of those things where it's just like sad to see that, because we all felt that way about some of our friends when we were in that age.
Yes.
And it's so funny because I think Sean would assume the opposite about Corey because of his class feeling.
Yes.
So it's just interesting, like the perception of what cool is to different people.
Yeah. So that's really important. And then also, what I noted about the scene when she hands out the invitation is that Sean immediately, they show Sean, and Sean realizes he doesn't have one. But Sean does not make a big deal out of it, even though he clearly wants to go. And he does not want to he doesn't even bring up that he didn't get one.
Yeah.
Because Corey's like, let us go look at our invitations and bask in the sunlight. That's the only time he brings it up.
Corey has this little funny moment where he's like, class? We don't need no stinking class. We got an invite. And Ben really shines in that
exactly. But what I'm saying is, Sean understands how important this moment is to Corey, and he does not...
He doesn't want to take away from it.
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to do?
You're going to go to their party.
I'm not going to a party that you're not invited to.
Oh, don't sweat it, Corey. I'll go grab a burger at Chubby's.
And now, for me, I was like, whoa, that's such a big thing to show, and show so subtly. Because he doesn't bring it up. He's not like, hey, Corey, I didn't get an invite.
Which I imagine Corey would have been to Sean.
Oh, yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is almost all of this comes from Corey pushing. Corey's like, we got an invite. No, I didn't get an invite. Corey's like, well, there must be some mistake. Let it go. Yeah. Do you want me to talk to her? If you please, Sean has some problems and some insecurities, but he's not even insecure about his position as a cool person. He's just he is insecure about his position as a cool person, because if he believes everything that Corey's been saying, this was the party to get invited to, and he didn't get invited. But Sean doesn't go like Corey, and it's like, why didn't I get invited? What's going on? Sean's just like, that's the way it goes. You don't get invited to every party. And he doesn't want to take away from Corey's moment. And again, it's just like, oh God, their relationship is so precious.
Sure. And I just think it's just one of those moments where you really see how much Sean loves Corey.
Exactly.
And that's something I got throughout the entire episode. Even like, not to jump to the end, but like Sean is really willing to ditch anyone for his friend at the moment's notice, and I thought that was just really good. We need to go back and talk about.
We missed this part. There's this part where it's kind of, for some reason, I guess like either filler or like they didn't really have much for like the B story with Alan in his back, because we get these little snippets of Harley.
What do you want to call their gang?
Frankie.
We need a name for their gang.
Yeah, I don't know,
because they're kind of like this weird like beatnik vibe.
It's like again, it's they're like greasers, but they're
guys. If you're listening and you have any ideas for what we should call their gang, please let us know.
Please let us know, because I'm with you. I think we should call this little trio something.
Yeah,
but it's. Anyway, we get 2 snippets with them, but it's comedy gold.
It's comedy gold, but it just shows like everyone is rife with insecurity. From the moment that Corey walks out of class, Harley comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, baboon, I'm still pissed at you for sitting in my seat at lunch last Tuesday." And it's like, bro, you don't have anything better to care about at all, even a little bit.
It'll be his seat until he decides to graduate senior year.
All right, so yeah.
Wait. But then we get to Frankie.
Everybody knows it's always been Holly's chair. It's always going to be Holly's chair every year that he's a senior. Ain't that right, Frankie?
What are you saying? I like my sister?
This is the second time that we've had an encounter between Joey and Frankie where for no reason, Frankie just spouts out the most wild, insecure issues. And this time, Joey actually supports it by saying, "Oh no, but I do think your family is quite close." Which makes me revisit the whole, "What are you saying, that I'm gay?"
Well, again, I think what's really interesting about this, and you and I will like continue to do this every time, because I feel like we are going to get a lot like this ongoing story arc that like when it was broken into pieces, no one noticed, but I'm really starting to see things. And what I'm saying about that is with Frankie and Joey, Frankie is clearly like this very sensitive individual who lets little pieces of himself out. But Joey's very sensitive to Frankie's plight. He's never like, he doesn't mock him and he doesn't fear him. He's just almost always like, no, I'm not, like, he's like, it's not a bad thing.
Can I be 100 with you?
Yeah.
I think Joey's an amazing friend.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He cares so much about Frankie and Harley. Like, I don't even think he's a bad person. I think he's just trying to be good to his friends. Yeah. So I don't even like think of him as a thug. Like, Harley is more the thug, but Frankie and Joey, they just don't have better role models.
Exactly. Harley's the thug. Harley's the problem maker. Frankie's the muscle, but he's also just the muscle because he's that big in high school.
And that's all it is. It was just his plight. He doesn't even want to do it.
And Joey's just there for support. And I love it because it's this thing. Where go?
I was gonna say Joey and Frankie remind me of, you know how you're in school and you learn how like some fish live off of other fish, but they help eat the bacteria, like they help each other.
Symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. Joey and Frankie. 100%.
I agree. I think it's really funny to like see them, and I feel that we'll have to watch it. But I think they even kind of make a joke like they're the Corey and Sean
of the underworld.
Yeah, of the underworld. And I think that's what it is. They really are. They have this very supportive friendship.
100%.
That is from a place of nothing but love. And I really, really like that. And again, it's a really funny joke where he's just like, "I'm just saying, your family's a little close."
Yeah, I really do think that both of these guys show that how important mental health is as well. Like, because like you have Frankie obviously dealing with some really like issues at home. And then you also have old ass Harley, who, by the way, probably needs some of Mr. Matthews' vitamins because he's clearly taking out some ED issues on these children.
Very possible, yeah.
He is way too old for this school. I just want to throw that out there one more time.
I feel like
he is a full-grown adult.
Okay. Moving on. We go to the cafeteria. And, all right, so I've kind of mentioned this before, but again, this will be my section called Turn On by Mr. Turner.
Oh,
because this scene, I promise you. So when I see Mr. Turner, usually I'm not always just like gaga over him because the dude's an actor and it's whatever. But there are moments where they give this man a scene and I'm just like, what was I supposed to do with that?
I wrote down Mr. Turner's soda machine move was so damn sexy.
That it was.
I was like, fuck, this guy's cool.
Yes.
Like, well, all right.
It was sexy as fuck. That soda can move. I have no idea how they shot it. What it was about.
You know he pounds ass.
Oh
bro,
my
based off
god,
of that.
dude! I could not. I just literally I saw that and I was like, I gotta write this down. It was just like it was such a moment.
And you know what's so cool about him too is that he always makes time for these boys. Like he talks to them like, "Hey, I'm your friend. What's up?" He never comes at them from a even like I'm an adult, you're a kid. It's never that. He and I think what's great about that is that you see Corey. Whenever he has an issue, he'll talk to Mr. Turner the same way he'll talk to Sean or Eric or anyone else. So, and I love that about them.
Actually, so he combines it. He combines it the same way that he used to talk to Mr. Feeney or Alan when he has a question. But in a casual manner like he would Sean or Eric. And I think that's really important because Mr. Turner is brought in to it's kind of messed up that he's kind of there to be a father figure to Corey.
Well, he ends up being one for Sean.
I know, but he is
taking storylines away from Alan.
Exactly.
Which I'm fine with.
Again, it's like I can't really say that I have a problem with it because...
Like, by the way, did you realize Morgan wasn't in this episode?
Nope, didn't at all. And you were fine with it. I made a note that it's like, I like how we're using the family. We use the family for just the right amounts, just for what we need. They get a little storyline. And that's it. That's all we need.
Yeah, this is a balance that works.
Yeah, so it's... but anyway... he comes and he gives Corey advice, and it's really funny because they do that whole thing, kind of like what they did last episode, where it's like, if I had done to me what you had done to me, you know? Where he's just kind of like this point where he's like, well, it seems like you already made up your mind, so why are you even coming to me for advice?
Well, what I will say is that I felt that Corey was really articulate with his emotions when he was talking to Mr. Turner, because he was like, you know what, Mr. Turner, I got invited to this party, and everyone's making it seem like I'm popular and cool, and it makes me feel really good about myself. And even though my buddy didn't get invited to this, like, I still really want to go because it makes me feel like I'm important. Which I don't know that as a 12-year-old or 13-year-old, whatever he's supposed to be, I would have ever been able to articulate my emotions like that as clearly to an adult about what I'm going through. And I just thought it was really mature of Corey.
Yeah, and I think it's also written in a way and at a time. It's said at a time that is naturally Corey. You know, like sometimes they'll write dialogue where you're like, why would you, this was clearly written by someone.
Sure.
But the level of self-awareness and why you're doing what you're doing but still wanting to do it is very much in line with Corey. And it goes back to that whole thing where it's like Corey has a dilemma where everyone knows the decision Corey's going to make but Corey.
Yeah.
But you still need to see him walk through it.
Question for you.
Yes.
What's the rule? Your best friend gets invited to a party. Do you go?
It depends on the party. Because here's the thing. It's like one of those things where it's like, if you both wanted to go, then yeah, you don't go. You know, that's the thing. It's like, if you both wanted to go and you could, but your friend couldn't, it's like, nah, you do, we'll catch something else.
Yeah.
But if it's one of those things where it's like, you both wanted to go and you both wanted to smash and there's a good chance that one of you will smash, then your friend's gonna be like, boy, if you don't go. You know?
Yeah. You're a bad friend if you don't. I think it's age dependent. Because as an adult, I don't think it's a big deal. But
I mean, depending on what it is, there's certain things like, for example, say for example, you guys are
Siege. If you get invited to a P. Diddy white boat party, as jealous as I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be like, bro, you're dumb if you don't go.
Yeah. But that's a completely different opportunity. That's what I'm saying. It's like what's attainable and what's not. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's like a P. Diddy party on a boat and you can't get in. It's just like But how many times there's like, for example, let's just say, for example, all your friends are going to a club. Everyone's there. You're excited. You know, you go to the door and your friend forgot their ID, so they can't get in and you can.
Well, you know what? Okay, when you say it like that, that's true. Because I've been hanging out with like You know, I've been with large groups, even with my cousins when we'll go out clubbing, and then it's like, oh, so-and-so isn't 21 yet.
Exactly.
So it's like, all right, well, we're not going to leave them out.
Again, and that's what this is. The stakes are kind of similar to that, where it's like it's not that Sean couldn't go. There was just something preventing Sean from going in. And this party wasn't like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. This was just the party. And again, it was the party in Corey's head.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's why, for me, that whole thing of if you can't go to a spot and have fun with your friends, it's probably not worth going to, especially if your friends are being excluded for something that has nothing to do with them.
And I think that's also the lesson that Corey needs to learn and does learn, is that nothing is really fun if you're not with the people that make it fun.
Exactly. We're going to get there. All right, so...
one thing I did want to say is that I realized that Mr. Turner looks exactly like Frank Stallone. Sly Stallone's brother.
I honestly haven't.
If you Google Frank Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's brother, he looks exactly... You know what? Yeah. Let's pull this up.
Oh, you're kind of right. Oh, wow.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, you're right. I'll give him that. Yeah, he does look exactly like him. And who knows what they were going for? I honestly don't know.
You know what? When I think back on, like... Because I feel like Mr. Turner walked off the set of, like, Melrose Place.
You said this before.
Yeah, and I think that's just the look of the time. Like, that's just how guys look.
Just don't, like, anyway, he's amazing. But all I wanted to say was a little bit of advice that he gives Corey, which is that...
he has the female lesson.
Just don't get carried away by what other people think.
Of course not. Why not?
Because that wouldn't be cool.
And he says it in the coolest way possible. And it is true. It's like one of those things where you want so bad to be cool, but the more you care about being cool, the less cool you are.
Exactly. So we also get the little bit of Corey. I love this thing where it's like Corey is in the bathroom getting ready, and he like puts on like Eric's just making fun of him. I forgot, like, they have like this little back and forth, but he does that thing where he bathes in cologne.
Which is such a 7th grader thing to do. Man,
I hate it.
Oh, yo,
like the
locker room, the Axe body spray situation in our middle school was out of control.
The smell of like teenage boy BO and Axe body spray has made me hate Axe body spray.
Well, it's always intertwined with the BO. It's like, I don't think these people understood, like, yeah, you can play basketball, that's fine, but like just spraying the Axe won't cover up.
See, the problem was Axe never showed people showering then putting it on.
Yeah.
It only showed people spraying themselves, and so you had a generation of dudes who were like, oh, this is fine, this is doing everything, and you're like, that's not how bacteria works at all.
And for whatever, when did Axe come out? Because it feels like it came out just as we were coming of age.
Like, Axe came out for us, for our age, and it was like big from 6th grade to like 12th grade. So it was literally our generation, and I don't know how girls touched a single guy during that era. Because
we're really sorry, ladies. We didn't know.
BO and Axe body spray is just, to this day, I hate it so much.
Siege, hand on the Bible. What was your Axe situation?
Did I have it?
Yeah.
Of course I had it.
Absolutely.
Cool breeze, like cool burst or something like that. Did I have? Of course. But did I move on at like
at age appropriately? Yeah.
Well, like they probably before. I'm trying to think. So honestly, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was junior year when I played football, and again, just the smell of the locker rooms and that combination made me be like, never again.
And there was also that thing when you were that age where you didn't know the difference between good cologne and bad cologne, where I literally would just go to the CVS and grab like a 2-liter Brute.
Really, Brute? You should be ashamed of yourself.
I didn't know. I think I went into a bathroom and I saw a guy had it and I was like, oh, that's what cologne is. Like, I just didn't know.
Honestly, at 16, I take it back. It had to be at 16 because I worked at a bathroom valet and they had all the cologne, so I got the little bottle of Curve.
Yeah,
I'll be smelling good in that Curve.
But yeah, I remember that being such a cool thing. Like whenever I went to like my older cousins' rooms, and they had like, oh man, you got that Michael Jordan cologne? Damn,
Michael Jordan cologne.
Oh yeah, bro.
Because that's what you want to smell like.
You smell like a winner. So we're back to Alan's dick issues.
Yeah. Well, no. So now he's on the couch and he's not moving.
But this is where we learn he's only 40. Feeney comes in and he's just like, bro, you want to go work out? Like, do you want to do something?
It's all a setup from Amy. But what I do mind is Feeney. This is when Feeney's like, look, I get $50 if you sign up. I'm on a teacher's salary. Yeah. And you're like, again, they are hitting you with the Feeney doesn't make that much money.
No, yeah.
And I kind of like that they hit that every once in a while because teachers are and appreciate it.
And you know what? I think I would be able to look the other way if they just had a different house. Like, and to me, just like even like Roseanne level house, like would be more realistic to me. It's more of the exterior. It's the exterior shot because it wouldn't make sense for Feeney to have a house that's super nice either. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but again, my whole thing is my theory is they got these houses back when the housing market was in their favor, and they've just ridden it out.
Can we talk about how Corey walks in on Amy trying to get Alan off the couch?
And she's like, it's not even dark yet.
Another sex joke. Like, he walks in and makes a joke about his parents fucking, and then it's just like, oh, by the way, I got invited to a party, guys.
Yeah, well, I do like Amy's, like, she said something along the lines of, again, Amy being the good parent.
Yeah.
She's just like, where's this party that I know nothing about? And I'm like, yes, you know what? Amy parenting points.
Amy gets all the parenting points because later on when Corey's on the way to his party, she's like, hey, by the way, tell Melissa's mom thank you for inviting me to the party.
Showing manners in the most passive.
And to me, that's the most mom thing I've ever seen on television. By the way, when you go over there, tell so-and-so thank you.
Exactly.
Like, that's...
Amy parenting points are, like, through the roof. I love it.
Yeah.
And I do like how, like, they even, like, say that Alan's gonna get up off the couch to go pick up Corey. Again, it's a stupid B story, but it is a B story, and it does give us Alan and dick pills. So,
well, it's funny because the other thing is that Amy jokes about she's like, Corey's like, it's a boy-girl party, and she's like, well, excuse me, Wilt Chamberlain, and I was wow, they are really packing in the sex jokes.
Yeah, again, what's funny about the Wilt Chamberlain joke is no kid's gonna really get what that joke is. But as you get older, you're like, okay.
The other thing that was really funny because you talked about the cologne thing, but he also puts Eric's deodorant under his ball sack.
Yes.
And he swallows mouthwash, which, by the way...
First of all, the swallowing mouthwash thing, I could see the logic, and I was like...
I saw that as a kid. For majority of high school, I swallowed mouthwash. I swear to God, I would swallow because I was like, to me, that logic made 100% sense. If you burp, it'll come up minty fresh. That is...
Again, it's stupid, but it makes good passive sense.
To a child, it makes sense.
Yeah. All right, so then we actually get to the party. All of this was just to lead up to the party.
Can I just say one thing? Corey's saying he has deodorant in his pants. Is he trying to get laid? Is he preparing to get laid? Why would that be a thing for him?
I don't know. That's a very good question because I thought, who do you think is going to be down there?
Exactly. You need to make your balls smell good. By the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. I've thought this before as a kid. Do not make the same mistakes I did. I was curious about, hey, I want to make sure I smell good down there.
Tell me you didn't. I know you did.
Put deodorant
No, you did.
right on my boys.
No.
My boys in the hood. And can I tell you, that shit burned so bad that I went to the bathroom. I was like trying to get it out. I was screaming and no one was home and I just had to deal with this. And guys, please.
The story of Latchkey Kids, like, they gotta be some amazing moments because you go through so many things by yourself.
Yeah.
And you're just like I had to deal with this really important moment, and there was no
one told me. So there's better ways to take care of that, and please don't make the mistakes I did.
You know, honestly, it's really funny because I'm just thinking about this. When you, at that age especially,
you don't know.
Not only do you not know, but what I was going to say is there is no deodorant. I mean, like, there's powder now, which I think is what most people should use and is like the thing to do. But that situation just gets a scent that maybe Corey was just like, it's starting to smell down there and something's got to go.
Yeah, and it
because
is.
There's just, if you've ever been around a teenage boy where it's like, you can smell it.
Yeah. It, specifically.
You smell it. And it's like,
so it does, like, as a kid, you're like, yeah, put deodorant on it. Why not? This is also a pit that stinks.
yeah.
Oh, my God.
So we go to the party. And again, Corey arrives, and almost like immediately they show the dorks on the couch, and Corey's just like, he's happy to be there. And he does this thing where he keeps introducing himself, where he's just like, hi, I'm Corey Matthews. Like, she didn't give him the invitation.
And she doesn't give him the time of day. She's still bitching it up hardcore.
She kind of even plays to her parents, you know, she's just like, I'm so happy you're here.
Hi, Corey, so happy you came.
Yeah, exactly.
And then completely throwing them shade to his face.
Exactly.
Melissa, why are you even having this party?
Well, she said originally the party was, she made the guest list, but her parents found the guest list and changed it.
Yo, let's talk about this for a second.
Go for it.
They're in their first semester of a new school. Who the hell are these parents to know who the good kids are and who the bad kids are? Now, granted, I know Sean probably was on the news for blowing up a mailbox. I can get that. But he should have been the only, it doesn't make sense for all of these kids to not have been invited.
Well, all of them, no. But also, I feel that what they kind of hint at is that we've known these kids for a while. For example, Corey, Sean, Topanga, we know that they've all been in the same high school. So even though we've always only seen them in one class, there doesn't seem to be a lot of new kids. We haven't really... Yeah. I mean, with the exception of Desiree in the last 2 episodes, we didn't really get, like, a new kid in school. Oh, and Wendy. But, like, that's just it. They're so new that everyone knows who... new person is. So I just assume that the parents are like, we've seen all of you. And again, they're just like, that's when she says people who are
parental approved.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing you can be, Corey.
And
my parents love you.
Which they say that as is a negative thing. That will come back around and be a very big positive.
I'm great with parents. I'm
actually really good with parents.
Yeah. I'm about to meet my girlfriend's parents.
Exactly.
I'm super nervous about it. But also not really, because I'm great with parents.
I'm really good with parents.
Yeah, and you know what? I was PA, and I think I'm better off for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. I was PA, I was TA. I was just like always like that person who got along with adults.
Yeah.
And that charm has definitely gotten me around in life. So
yeah, Corey realizes it's a geek party. He's like, oh no, I'm dangerous, I'm risky, and he goes into kiss Melissa.
He grabs her,
grabs her, tilts her down, and you know what? Melissa's like, okay,
yeah, she's down.
Okay, give it to me. And then he's like, yeah, this isn't me.
Yeah.
She's like, I knew it. And I was just like, damn, girl, you are harsh.
Well, not only that, but that was an intense few. Because here's the thing, especially when we talk about consent and all this other stuff. When he grabs her, for a moment, I'm like, what is this? You know, she could have reacted in any way, but she's like, okay, Corey, what you
come and get this, Corey.
And that was when I was like, yo, this is what being young and naive is all about.
Yeah.
Because he's getting all the signs. She's like, go for it.
And he
immediately drops the ball. And it's one of those things where he's like, you had it.
It was one of those things where he's like, I got there and then I just didn't know what to do next.
Exactly. But this is what the whole, is this a make-out party? The whole cool thing.
Yeah.
Dude, you would have been cemented. Like, had you, you go there, you grab Melissa, you make out with Melissa. She's like, wow, oh my God. Corey took initiative. Immediately skyrocketed in popularity.
Yeah.
And what does Corey do? Corey's like, I've been over my head.
And I think this just goes to show that, you need to understand what's in your comfort level. And I think that's one of those things that as a kid, we all have to kind of learn that, not everything is for us.
Yes.
And that's such a hard thing to learn. We all have different timelines. That's another thing that, comparing yourself. I know girls did that a lot with, who got boobs first and things. Just comparing yourself. I think we still do that. Social media, we still compare ourselves nonstop.
Very, very good point. So we get this moment where Corey has a chance, and then he realizes that, it's a geek party and he feels bad. And that's when Melissa says the whole thing about Sean was the first person removed from the list.
Which I can see that.
Yeah, again, especially with Sean being the way, again, last episode when Sean was like, my girl. Yeah. I was just like,
But also Is it because Sean lives in the trailer?
See, I think, I didn't mention it, but I think that that's why Sean thinks he didn't get it.
I think so too. And I to him, like, the reason why he thinks, like, because later on he's like, what, Corey, you think you're too cool to talk to me?
Yeah.
Like, you see this sensitivity throughout the series of Sean feeling so insecure about
a few
his
episodes
poverty.
we got the mention of the trailer park again.
Yeah, and it just continues to play a part as we go deeper into Sean's character. Like, there was that mention, I forget which episode it was in, where Corey's like, isn't your uncle sleeping on your couch? He won the lotto and stopped talking to us for $6.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's just one of those things where this is something that Sean is insecure about, even though we're not seeing it outright. We're seeing the subtle hints of it.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. My first thought was that Sean thinks that it's him. Sean actually does think, oh, I'm not good enough. Corey, again, has his perfect life, has the house, has all this other stuff.
Has the family.
And I'm going to be left behind because I don't have it. I don't have those things.
And typically what we would have seen from Sean is this whole thing of him being insecure about losing Corey, losing his family. But instead we, again, just continue to see him be so supportive of Corey, even though he's continuously being a jackass to Sean.
Exactly. And I think it's one of those things to where Corey, we forgive Corey because Corey's oblivious. You know what I mean?
Learning. He doesn't know what he doesn't know.
He really doesn't. He doesn't see it. And the thing about Corey is once he does see it, he completely behaves differently. You know what I'm saying? He tries to do better.
Sure.
But it's, again, that's when he knows. If Corey doesn't see it, Corey like almost will rub it in someone's face constantly. He's like, can you believe how much good luck I've gotten? And that person's just sitting there.
But there's always an aha moment for Corey.
Yeah, exactly.
With these. And I think the aha moment comes when, Corey and Sean are talking at Chubby's, which, by the way...
All right, so we're leaving one area, we're moving, because at the party, before we leave the party, all I wanted to say is, we're at the party, and the other girl whose name I mentioned earlier, Ms.Wilder or something like that. Yeah, Ms.Wilder. Wilder comes in and she's just like, hey, there's a cool party happening at Chubby's. You should get out of this one to Melissa. Melissa straight up bounces. She's just like... She
leaves her own party.
Once the chips are done, y'all get out.
This girl leaves her own damn party.
That is a whole other level. She doesn't even ask them to leave. You don't care enough to actually ask them to leave your house.
And also, I had a few parties at the house when I was growing up, like birthday parties, things like that. Your parents are so like, hey, you're cleaning up afterwards, right? Like,
well, no, I think the whole point is she just doesn't care about them. She doesn't care so much that, again, she doesn't. Exactly. She's not like, hey guys, party's over. She's just like, you know what?
She doesn't care to tell anyone. She's not telling her parents that they're strangers unattended downstairs. But what is cool is that, like, she jets, and then Corey goes over and tells the other so-called geeks, like, hey,
this is a geek party.
This is a geek party. And they left.
I love this part because this is when
this is the alternative friends moment.
Yes.
I don't think any girls are coming.
Oh, well, we don't mind. We're all friends.
Yeah, we like hanging out together.
We're very comfortable with what we are. Parties come and parties go.
But you always have your friends.
That is why Ubaldo is so cool.
They really don't care. They're like, this is a geek party. They're like, you win some, you lose some. And they really, like, they don't even think twice about it because they're with the people that matter to them.
And this is the same message we're getting throughout the episode, that the cool thing to do is be cool to your friends.
Exactly.
And even, I think
Alan says
that before you leave. He's like, the cool thing is to remember who your true friends are.
Exactly.
And that just continues to, and finally, Corey eventually gets it.
Well, no, Corey doesn't. Because what happens is Corey gets to Chubby's, and when Corey
Can we pause?
Chubby's,
This is our first time at Chubby's.
Is this our first time at Chubby's?
This is our very first time at Chubby's.
Oh my god!
When I saw it, I was like, I actually went through and I was like, I was looking through the other episodes, like scanned through them. I was like, do we see Chubby's? Do we see Chubby's? No, this is the first time.
This is our first time.
And it's interesting because we see it through like, oh, this is Jonathan's first time coming here. And so it's almost like that we have a new character kind of exploring this new area, and everyone's just like, oh yeah, it's Chubby's. Like, huh? Yeah, Sean goes up to Corey, hey, I got the Chubby fries.
Yeah, Chubby's is such a staple in Boy Meets World that I honestly didn't even blink twice that this is our first time here because it's such a staple that I was like, oh, we've been here.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you noted that this is our first time.
It's one of those sets too that are just so familiar and just so home. Everyone in the world is at this place. It's super popular. I imagine, like, I don't know where they would be in Philadelphia, but I mean, in the next episode we do mention that they are in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that this is just one of those mom and pop places down the street where the kids can walk to.
Yeah.
Because everyone in the school is there.
Everyone's there. It's really close. It's kid friendly.
It's one of the places that all the central characters can walk to.
I do want a chubby burger. I'm not gonna lie. I would love a chubby burger.
What's funny is that there actually is a Philly cheesesteak place in
called
Philadelphia called Chubby's. Not related to the show at all, but there is a place called Chubby's.
All right. We gotta go there at some point in time.
We have to do an episode there.
Oh my god! Do you think I wouldn't? I would love to. But anyway, so I like that you mentioned that. First of all, before we get into the rest of this is our second time with Harley and the gang. And again, we get what I liked about this is there's this another setup with Frankie and Joey where Frankie's like,
Harley gets the high score on the pinball machine, and Joey points out, he's like, "Oh man, no one's gonna beat that, right?" And then Frankie says,
"What are you
saying? Sometimes at night I like to write poetry." This is where I paused.
Yeah,
because. Bro, we learned that Frankie does like to write poetry. So
from everything else,
does this mean that he has incestuous thoughts about his sister? Is he gay? All of these things are now possibilities because this one thing is 100%
exactly
true.
And what we should look at is how many of the other things actually come to pass, and that way we can do like a ratio.
Well, I will say I don't think Frankie ends up having a sister. He has a sister the way Sean had a sister because we never.
No. What I'm just saying is like we not necessarily that, but to put weight on the sister and the gay thing, we have to look at what else Frankie says in the future and how likely those are. Well, because that moment where he's like, wait, all I want to say is this goes back to Joey being so supportive. Yeah. Because Joey goes right into it. He's like, no, I'm not saying that, but like, I'm interested. Are they soliloquies? Are they sonnets?
Let's talk about it. I think I'm really proud of you, bro.
And I just think, again, I love it so much. That was a great moment for me.
Guys,
okay,
please let us know. Do you think he has a crush on his sister? Is he gay? Guys, you don't have to answer, Sway.
So, moving on. We go to, as we said, Corey goes to Chubby's because that's where this party is. And when he gets there, Mr. Turner's there. He's there for the very first time.
Yeah.
Again, he kind of mentions that he came in to just kind of check it out, but like like a whole crowd came in all of a sudden. Yeah. It's a mob scene. And then he does two things. One, he's like, "Oh, you remember that party? I made the wrong decision." So I like that. Corey owns up to it. He's like, I made the wrong decision. And then immediately after, Mr. Turner's like, yeah, I knew you would.
I knew it. You don't listen to me in class. I knew you wouldn't listen to me in life.
I loved that line.
And
that was a great line.
Like, Mr. Turner was like, I'm going to let him make this mistake.
Yeah, well, what he did was he was about to leave once he saw. He's like, Sean's here. And he's like, Sean's in the center of the group.
Corey didn't feel like he was good enough to go up to his best friend.
Because Corey's extremely insecure. And to Corey, because he made a big deal about the party and he said that it was a cool party. All of that was Corey.
Yeah.
So when you take that, Corey gets to where the actual cool party is and he removes himself because, again, Corey's doing all of this manipulation. No one has told Corey, you're not cool or you're not good enough. But what I do love is that's when he goes, I'm a geek. Yeah. And like the whole place gets quiet. He's like, oh, like you didn't know.
By the way, the cool party is just all the attractive kids sitting around the booth talking.
Which is the cool party. I mean, it has everything you need. Atmosphere, music, food, hot people. To this day, get any of those four things and you're at a cool party.
100%. What I love is that Sean sees Corey and he's just like, bro, I'm so happy to see you. Come over here, dude. I got cheese fries, man. Let's chill. And I love that he doesn't even think about like the party or just make that any weird thing. He's just happy to see his friend.
He's happy to see Corey.
Yeah.
And like, mind you, Corey ditched him earlier tonight. He's happy to see Corey even though Corey ditched him earlier.
Yeah.
And so Corey's like, well, I don't want to interrupt with you and your friends. He's like, well, what friends? Because again, Sean's just like, Sean probably came, got fries, people surrounded him, and Sean was just like,
yeah, people just started talking.
Cool.
He didn't even realize how many people were around.
He didn't, and he's like, oh, they'll make room. Again, Sean is making room for Corey. And Corey did not do the same at first for Sean.
No.
Because if we're being honest, he was competing with Sean.
Yeah.
And he thought he had a one-up. But now that he saw that he was actually a step behind, he can't even accept that.
Yeah.
To Corey, it's all or nothing.
And what I do love is that, to me, we really see that Sean sees Corey not really as a friend, but a family.
Yeah.
And that's that distinction of just like, I don't care about these other people at all, bro. We're like, this isn't even a friendship thing. This is so much more than that like, you can go to that party and I don't care.
Exactly. It's the iconic moment.
It's such an iconic moment.
It's iconic, and it's just a great synopsis of their relationship. Because he's like, so you think I'm cool?
You think I'm cool? Of course not. Then what am I? You're Corey. I'm Sean. Just like it's always been. What else do you need to know?
And I feel like we saw a small version of this in the previous season, like where there was like that, you're Corey, I'm Sean, we're friends. That's always how it's going to be. And we'll continue to kind of see that throughout the show, because whenever there's that Corey and Sean having like a riff in their friendship episode, there's that moment where they're like, hey, we're being dumb. Let's remember, like, we're each other's people.
Yeah.
So I just love how it always comes back to that, and that they have this just like eternal friendship that can't break no matter what's coming along.
Well, it's not just that. I think it's a good lesson of that. I'm not really sure that Corey gets, but the show says it, which is like, don't try to be, because Sean's like, either Sean's like, what do you want from me? Or Corey says something along the lines like, I want you to teach me how to be cool. And Sean's just like, don't try to be me. Don't try. Do your lane. Your lane is what makes you you, and what makes you awesome, and is what makes me want to be around you. And if I want to be around you, again, that's where he's like, do I hang around with geeks?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like I don't hang around with people who are losers. And I'm with you, so you're not a loser. And again, I'm not sure if Corey really gets that this episode, but it is something that the show says. And I think it's another lesson that as adults, we need to remember more of. It's just like, your friend could be doing better than you, but if your friend's your friend, that doesn't matter. Like, why are you making it a competition?
Yeah.
And at the same time, if you're doing better than your other friend, don't forget where you came from.
And that, again, that's kind of that social media thing where, like, you see your friends traveling, you see your friends doing all these things, getting promotions and all these stuff, and you just feel like you're left behind, and you feel like you're less than. You feel like you have to compare yourself. You feel like people are judging you when no one's thinking about any of that.
I live in LA. I know these feelings on a regular.
It's just so symbolic, I think, to what we experience in that realm. Question for you.
Yes.
Was there ever a moment where you totally douched out on a friend to do something that you thought was cool? And
absolutely.
Do you have any examples?
I can't think of any example right now, but I know for a fact that I've gone to parties that like a friend shouldn't have gone to, or couldn't have gone to, or I've done things, I've hooked up with people, that you just should not have. And I'm not saying that like I'm a perfect person. I understand that was wrong, and most of the time I either immediately regretted it or like I grew to understand where I fell short, and I just tried to do better.
For me, when I really think back at it, the way I did this was when other people weren't around, I would talk shit about them. I was really bad, and not really like serious, like it would be jokes, but it would be my way of just like slowly, like quiet, like low key undermining them, affecting the way other people thought of that person, because to me, I thought that person was like super cool, or I thought that person had something that I didn't have.
I have an exact example about this in high school, but I'm not going to say it. I will tell you, and it deals with you and Reed, but I'm not going to say anything on air because we're not doing that. But at the exact same time, either way, I understand that. My whole thing, like just with that, I don't try to. I learned early on that when you do that, when you like try to undermine a friend or bad talk someone, it just looks bad on you.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if people don't bite into it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, even if they do it, they still think that about you, but if they don't bite into it, it's even worse.
Sure.
And so because of that, I've honestly, like, to this day, I don't say anything about you that I won't say to your face. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of times where I was like, I never thought I would have to say this to your face.
Yeah.
But now that you've called me on it, let's have this conversation.
Sure. But yeah, it would be that thing where I wouldn't initiate it, but as soon as I heard someone say, like, talk shit about one person, I would just drop in that joke.
Uh-huh.
And you're right. It's like when you get a laugh, you're just like, all right, mission accomplished.
Yeah.
But when you don't, and you're just, or have you ever been around like a group of friends and like someone just keeps bringing up someone else who's not even there, and it's just like,
dude,
this
let
person
it go.
is obsessed. Like they keep bringing this person up over and over again.
I was thinking of Mean Girls, where it's like she's like, I could hear people get tired of me bringing it up, but I couldn't stop. And that's the thing.
It's like you become like you get enjoyment from like talking shit about someone else. You become addicted to that negativity.
Exactly.
And it just becomes so evident.
My best friend, when we moved here, one of the really big challenges that we had was when we first moved to LA, he had a job and he was traveling and he was like, he had money because he had a job and all this other stuff. And I was stuck in the house, unemployed, and, you know, just like not doing anything. And it created this rift between us.
Yeah.
Because there was like this jealousy of me being like, oh, you have everything, things are going well for you, I'm struggling, and kind of undermining his accomplishments and his happiness.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't getting anything and because I didn't feel secure enough. And we actually had one of these moments where he was like, dude, I love you. And he's like, I'm here for you. You're the one who's pushing me away. I don't have anything to do about this. I'm not competing with you.
Sure.
I've never tried to compete with you. That's all coming from you. And I had to own up to that and be like, you're right. You've never once been like this is me against you. No, that was all from my end.
Most of the time, whenever I have like shit like that with my friends where there's that comparison, there's that competition, it's always from me projecting my own insecurities on other people.
Yeah, exactly. And so we got into deep. But I mean, I think this is a great episode for that very reason.
Yeah.
It brings up very realistic, very contemporary things.
100%.
All right, so let's do this little bumper where Alan...
where Amy basically buys some very conservative lingerie, whispers in Alan's ear, hey, we can do anal.
Dude, they do anal.
That's what she says. She's like, we can do anal. And then he immediately hops off knowing that he has that vitamin dick in him, that he would jump off the couch for it, and that's exactly what he does.
I literally, to my mind, I was like, what could she buy? They do anal.
Yeah.
They do. Well, first of all, they do anal because there's no other else, and he goes, we could do it twice. So
yeah, he's trying to get in that brown.
You know what? I'm happy for them. They have a very loving marriage.
And he grabs the dick pills on his way up, as if to say, like, oh yeah, we're gonna go all night. Dude, I got 60 pills in this thing.
Yeah, they get some. I mean, again, I have a lot to say about their marriage and their dynamic, but they definitely love each other, and Alan smashes.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Okay, so, bro moment. Did you have one?
I think the bro moment would be how much of a bitch this girl was to literally everyone, and everyone just allowed it because of how attractive she was. To me, that drove me off the damn wall. Corey, why do you think this girl is so cool? Like, she is not cool to anyone in the episode, not even her friends. Like, she even says to, like, a girl who's, like, kind of her friend in the beginning, she's like, yeah, you hope you get an invitation.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, like, this girl needs to go away.
Well, I mean, we don't see much of her after
No.
Honestly, my bra moment, the moment that like holds up, and it kind of tied into the Feeney lesson for me, which is this whole idea, as you said, with the social media thing, of know who your friends are, even when you make it big. That was one of those things where I was like, not only is this the lesson of the episode, but it does a really good job at being just timeless. It's a one where it's like you look at it now, and with followers and projects and all this other stuff, getting older, fame, family,
social
all this
influence.
It's just like it means something, but the only way that you're really cool is when you don't forget the people.
Yeah, and that's what I have written as like my Feeney lesson was what Turner said to Corey about, it's don't get carried away with what other people think because that wouldn't be cool.
Exactly. Okay, so grades. What are you giving this one?
Yo, son, I'm giving this episode an A.
Oh, you're going to give it an A?
I'm giving this episode an A. I think that this was solid writing. I thought the episode moved along. I was never like, you know what?
What?
B+. See,
I was going to give it a B+, and you made me feel bad, but...
No. Because of Alan. Alan's the reason why this episode got to be
Alan, here's the thing. Alan and also the Harley gang stuff, it doesn't really have like a place. It's great. I think it's good, but it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, and
it's one of those things where it's like if this was a Netflix show, that stuff could have been cut. And we could have just gotten like a 20-minute episode, instead of like that filler part. But I do like this.
But what I will say, the thing that really connects those B and C stories to Corey is
the insecurity,
in male insecurity.
I agree.
Prolific and causing damage left and right to everyone in these people's lives. When will men step up, Siege?
We're still trying to figure that out. All right. So, are you giving it a B+ or
B+? No, yeah, I read it. B+.
2 B+. All right. So that is the episode.
Heyo.
God, this was a good one. I really liked it.
I love this episode.
I really liked it. I really like this episode. I like where we go with this. All right. So homework. Do you have any homework?
Yeah, sure. I have an album that I found that I'm really enjoying. And it is currently by an artist by the name of Priscilla Renee, and it's called Colored. And it's so interesting because she's a black woman artist, but she does like kind of country, and she's from Florida, which I really liked. And like I hear the Florida influence of like these kind of like, because we grew up in Florida and we had a lot of country influence, and you hear that in her music a lot. And I just never heard like a black woman's take on country before. And I just thought it was so interesting. Not the whole album is that, like there's so many varieties of genres that she plays around with, but specifically like this was something I thought that was super interesting. So it's one of those things where even as black people, we often feel like black is one thing. And I love it when black people come and be like, no, black can be anything.
Yeah. I mean, like my brother, he's Puerto Rican, not black, but he literally messaged me the other day from the Brett Eldridge concert.
Yeah.
And like me and him were like singing along and like, oh my God, I love this song. And it's a thing where it's like a lot of people don't expect me to know as much country as I do and to like as much country. Yeah. I remember Reba McEntire before I remember Cher. Like, I'm just saying, like, if I'm being very honest, I knew more about Reba, and I think I've said this before, one of my first karaoke songs was Achy Breaky Heart.
Achy Breaky Heart was a sensation, bro. 94 nonstop.
But I'm just saying that, like, country is very much a part of me, and it's both unexpected and like just not around very often. Like I love going line dancing and all this other stuff.
That's such a nostalgic part of our specific childhood.
It is. I love it. It's crazy. All right, so that's good. Definitely check it out. You said the album was
Colored by Priscilla Renee.
Okay, and my homework this week will be, we mentioned it earlier, check out Won't You Be My Neighbor.
Can't wait to see it.
The Mr. Rogers documentary. I don't know why documentary. Yeah. But anyway, check it out. It is all the feels. And again, it really ties back into this episode's theme of being yourself. And all that means emotionally, physically, just appreciating who you are at this moment. And definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed, and you will cry.
I'm preparing for it.
You will cry. Okay, so that is our episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to Bruh Meets World. Remember, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. Make sure to leave us ratings. I've read a few of the ratings that make me happy. We've gotten a few. Keep doing that.
We can always use more.
Yep. And, next week I will read from the mailbag because we've gotten some.
Yay, yeah. Also, guys, please remember to send us us your suggestions for the gang, Harley's gang. We really need some gang names.
Yeah. We need gang names.
Yeah.
And remember to follow us on all the things at Bruh Meets World, and emails at bruhmeetsworld@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at Extra Siege. That's XTRACEEJ. Where are you at?
You can find me on Instagram at @ABraverMe. You can also just hit me up.
How?
just call me. It's fine.
Just call me. Find my number. Stalk me.
Please, guys, do an internet search of me. Really dive deep. You're gonna find some things that are gonna be shocking, and I'm 100% okay with it.
You're gonna get a Swim Fan, and A, I will love it because Swim Fan the movie is underrated, and then B,
guys, my Zanga and MySpace are still active. Go out there, find those gems.
My Zanga removed.
Did they remove Zanga?
No. They removed it from me because I found an old one of those quizzes, which I found out is just so people can get all your information.
100%.
And I was like, yo, take that down. And
these are all passwords.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, take that down. And I was like, I don't remember that password. They're like, well, we can remove all of it. And I was like, all right, yeah, do that. And then immediately I was like, wait, can you just reset it or something? And she was like, I already deleted it, bro. I was like, dude, that quick? She was like, yeah, it's gone. Yeah. So luckily enough, I had printed out, I kid you not, I have printed out each and every one of my Zanga posts. I did it 10 years ago.
I have a Word doc that's all of my Zanga posts with the photos and everything. Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys so much again. TC, you want to get us out?
Yeah, if you guys could do us one big favor, remember to dream, remember to try, and you guys remember to do good.
Do good.
Do good.
Do good. That's what Mr. Rogers would want.
Yes. He did so much good.
Later, bro.
Later, bruh.